I, 26 male, and sister, 19, lost our parents 6 years ago when I had only just moved out. Because we had no other family in our lives, I took my sister in, and from there on out, struggled to juggle my education and income to make ends meet and give her a somewhat normal life until she was an adult. Obviously, my sister was a wreck when we lost our parents, as was I, but as the only adult, I couldn't really give in to grief and had to move on. Because of how busy I was until I graduated, I couldn't stop my sister from acting out. Luckily, I managed to have just enough grip on her to more or less make her finish high school, albeit with horrid grades. Her behavior also got a little better at that time, probably because I became a lot more available. Luckily, I have since graduated 3 years ago, gotten a great job, and we have more or less gone from just keeping our heads above water to living comfortably. That said, she is 19 now, and since she graduated, we have been talking about her either going to college or getting a full-time job and working on moving out. I have had literally no life up until recently, and I am eager to actually get to live in the few years of my 20s I have left. Don't get me wrong here. I love my sister. I am proud she managed to graduate. I am not resentful of what happened, and I don't blame her for being difficult. I doubt I had been different had the positions been reversed, but I am also not a parent, and I want my own life. Luckily, we were getting there. She got a part-time job and was actively looking for further education she was interested in, and then she dropped a bomb. She got pregnant, the guy is a deadbeat, and she wants to keep it. So I made it clear to her that she is free to make any choice she wants, regardless of whether I or anyone else may disagree with it, be that having an adoption or keeping it or not. However, since she seems to have her mind set on keeping it, I do expect her to be moved out before the kid is born, and that I will not be playing any role in its life beyond the role of a normal uncle. In other words, I won't help raise it or be in any way financially responsible. She completely lost it, calling me every name in the book and claiming that I'm abandoning her when she needs me most. Nice to hear, but moving on. Since then, her friends have started weighing in as she has been venting to them, and I've gotten a lot of awful messages, most prominently them claiming I am essentially forcing her to end it, as my sister or the deadbeat that got her pregnant have no way of supporting the kid. My own friends have also weighed in, one of whom was a young single mom herself, and her parents bailed on her, and it caused her to almost lose custody. So she was less than happy to hear about this, and our friendship has become frosty. Am I being way too harsh? Or in other words, am I being the idiot here? Not the idiot. If she's planning on having a child, she shouldn't rely on you to support her for everything. Help out, sure, but not to give her a house and finance it all. You're not the baby's mom. She is. And having a kid means you're the one providing it with a home and enough money and love and time. If she can't afford to give these things, then she's just not ready to have a child. I can see why she'd be upset, but wanting to be a mom means growing up. Maybe it's an unpopular opinion, but you should never really have a child whilst relying on someone who isn't the parent to give everything for its care. You are not wrong. She needs to live with her own choices. If she knows she can't even take care of herself, let alone a kid, she has no business having one. Regardless, she is not your responsibility. If those friends have a problem, they can take her in themselves. You have your own life to live. Wow, you should remind her of the enormous sacrifices you had to make at her age in order to do exactly what she feels is so inhuman, suddenly having to raise a kid whilst barely an adult with no support system around her. You're not the idiot. If she wants to keep the baby, that is cool, good for her, but she needs to understand the enormity of that decision. If she's not in a position to raise that kid on her own, she just can't shirk that responsibility off onto someone else. She needs to make some grown-up decisions. My husband of a year is the CEO of a local hospital and has been for 17 years. His uncle was previously on the hospital's board of directors. I, 27 female, have a friend, 27 female too, who suffers from lupus. It's been very hard because her family is across the country and her fiance is deployed right now. The other day, she was at a mutual friend's house and our mutual friend texted me saying our friend was feeling faint. I go over to the house and not long after, my friend started having chest pain. So our mutual friend helped her to his car, and we drove her to the local hospital. When we get to the hospital, the nurses start doing whatever it is that they were doing and then start wheeling her away. I get stopped by a nurse when I try to follow, and she said to let the medical staff do their thing. I leave with my other friend, but come back a couple hours later when my friend texted me and said she's okay and she's just resting now. I go back to the hospital and make it past the initial crowd of nurses, some of whom I recognized at hospital events, and towards the direction where I knew my friend would be. I get stopped outside that general area by a nurse I don't know, and she says, "Sorry, no visitors." I explained that I'm the closest thing to family for my friend and that I had a responsibility to make sure she was okay and that she's vulnerable right now, and I'm basically her medical advocate. The nurse cuts me off and says that she can't make an exception for me. This entire conversation started out pretty politely, but suddenly I find that both our voices are raised, and she says basically, "There's nothing you can say to convince me otherwise," and starts to walk away from me. I follow after her and finally pull the "my husband is the CEO" card. She looks kind of shocked when I offer to call my husband. She starts doing something for a patient, and I get my husband on the phone, and he talks to the nurse, and I finally get an okay to go be with my friend as long as I leave by 6 p.m. The nurse looked extremely ruffled and kind of upset. I finally got to see my friend and comfort her and left before 6 as promised. When my husband gets home, he says that at least I didn't insist he come down and meet me where I was, but that I should have just called him from the get-go and that there were calmer ways to go about this. He also said he hoped my friend was okay and he's happy to help. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot. There's a global crisis and tons of hospitals aren't allowing visitors. You pulled the card, "I got this shiny ring from someone above you," on a nurse during a global health crisis, a tired, hardworking nurse just doing her job to try and protect everyone. You use power to violate safety protocols. Wow. Also, her husband has been the CEO for 17 years, and she's only 27 herself, so he was old enough to run the darn hospital when she was a kid. Yuck. You are the idiot, OP, for using your husband's authority, harassing a nurse, making more work during a global issue. For shame. There are husbands not allowed in delivery rooms with their wives, people who aren't allowed to say goodbye to dying loved ones because of this global issue, and OP pulls this stunt? Just despicable. You are such an idiot. You can't be basically her mental advocate. You either are by law or you aren't. The nurse had every right to stop you from interfering with her patient, and you pulled a major idiot move by appealing to your husband. You described her as ruffled. I'm willing to bet terrified she's about to lose her job for doing her job is more accurate. You owe this woman an apology. You are the idiot, and your husband is also. You are not special. Your friend did not need you. She was resting, and she was able to contact you. There is no emergency here. The rules should apply the same to everyone. I, female 19, lost my part-time job recently, and I've basically become a little housewife. I'm fine with that, as that's always been my role in my relationship anyways. It's just less hard to keep up with now. I'm also in school for nursing, but obviously I'm doing that from home. My husband, 31, works full-time and works hard. His commute to work is very long, over an hour each way. We go running together every day, and because I know it's a lot of stress for him, we meet 20 minutes away from our home, so he doesn't have to come home and drive back out. He calls me when he's 20 minutes away, and I leave. Today, I was 7 minutes late, as I had to turn off all the lights and get myself together before leaving the house. When I got there, he copped a major attitude with me for being late, refused to even speak to me for being 7 minutes late. I tried to explain that I had to put my shoes on and turn out the lights, but he wouldn't talk to me. The run was very awkward, and when we got home, he said that he felt he had every right to be angry and stumped off upstairs. I've had a lot of pent-up feelings about the fact that he has always expected me to be at his beck and call. It's like he thinks the whole world revolves around his time schedule because I lost my job. Anyway, he's hungry, thirsty. He yells my name. He doesn't even serve his own plates anymore. It's like he thinks I just sit in the dark with my hands folded, waiting for him to call. At this point, I knew he was being ridiculous, and I was just so upset that I did something that may make me the idiot. When he came downstairs, I told him that he could make his own dinner, his own lunch tomorrow for work, and I looked him straight in the eyes. I poured a pitcher of sweet tea, I make them every week, down the drain, and I said, "You can make your own stupid sweet tea too, you ungrateful brat." And I walked out and drove to my mom's house. So, am I the idiot for that overreaction? I was just so annoyed. Okay, so there's a lot here. Girl, you're 19. You and this man are not equals. He thinks of you as more of a maid than as his partner, and that's not going to change. You've got a whole life to live, and you can't limit yourself to serving an older man who doesn't care about you forever. Leave. Find a job, even a crappy one for now. Find local food pantries. If you can't afford a cheap place right now, try to stay with friends. You are worth so much more than this. Nothing wrong with being a housewife, but only in a fair partnership, which this is clearly not. Go live your life. You are not the idiot. Please leave before he locks you down with babies. And they're married? How long were they dating? Was it before she was 18? This is all kinds of not good. I was going to say, you probably overreacted a little bit, but then I saw that you were 19 and he is 31. Of course you overreacted. You are still just a kid at that point, who was spotted by a 30-year-old man as being vulnerable. He got mad about 7 minutes because he is training you to be scared of letting him down at all, or be even 7 minutes late to something. So by getting angry, he expected you to roll over like the dog he thinks you are and beg for forgiveness. It must have been a shock to him that you didn't do that, and I'm honestly very concerned about you going back to that house where he could possibly punish you. Please be careful. You are not the idiot, but I do have questions. What happens if you leave the lights on? He gets annoyed at me for wasting money and very passively aggressively shows me how to turn off light switches. I just try to avoid the headache beforehand. Update. I just want to say, I see all of your observations and have read through the comments. Thank you so much for the support and advice you give. It means a lot. I don't really know what to think right now, and I'm just struggling to process what some of you are saying and pointing out. It's just very hard to hear that your husband may be taking advantage of you. I, 28 female, am a mother of 2 kids and engaged to my partner of 5 years, 30 male. My kids are toddlers, and neither of them are my partner's children. I am 4 months pregnant with a 3rd baby, who is his biological child. There was never any cheating, and everyone involved is aware of all of this. When we started talking about moving in together, we agreed that we would move in with him, and he put me on the deed, meaning we have equal equity in the house, despite me paying a fraction of what he did. My siblings and I grew up poor, and I only met my partner and got to the point I'm at because I got a combination of scholarships and grants for his university. All of this has given my siblings a lot to tease me over. I don't mind it most of the time, but there have been times I've had to shut it down. My sister, 36, has 2 kids, few years older than mine, with her husband. She and her husband were a few hours away, but last year they moved near us. With lockdown, I suggested that she bring her kids over to use our indoor pool. All 4 kids got on well, and my sister and I got to talk, so the arrangement was working. Additionally, her youngest has a knee thing, which means the best thing for him is swimming, so this had considerable health benefits for him. Then, just before Christmas, they came over. I made my partner a drink and brought it to him, and she made a snarky comment about me being his maid. This led to a passive-aggressive conversation about our income and lifestyle, and the visit was cut short. Then, she brought her kids over again earlier this month. I don't know what happened exactly, but my kids came up to me, sobbing, saying their cousins called them bastards and me a gold digger. My sister was with me and said her kids were just joking. I asked her where they learned those jokes, and she said they probably figured it out for themselves. I said that even if that was the case, which I doubt, they should still apologize to my kids. She responded that they were only teasing, and I said that they were being brats and I expect an apology. My sister got them to apologize and left. Considering that this was the visit following the one where my sister and I had that passive-aggressive conversation about my income, I am confident that they did not figure it out for themselves. Rather, that my sister either said it within their earshot or to them directly and they copied her. She's now called me asking to use the pool. I've said no. I'm fine with my siblings teasing me, as we're all adults, but her kids calling my kids bastards, joking or not, was unacceptable. She said her kids were only joking. They've apologized, and they really enjoy coming to my house, and it's helping her youngest one. I said, they shouldn't be praised for apologizing, and after this, I don't think I want to put my kids in that position again. She said that I was being a selfish, privileged idiot by punishing her kids for something they've already apologized for, and accused me of thinking I was better than her and our other siblings. I said that if she respected anything about my life, we would not be having these issues, and she said I was blowing this out of proportion and being a complete idiot by holding this over them and being willing to affect her youngest kid's health. I'm concerned I'm in the wrong due to nephew's health issues and the fact that the kids apologized and this was a first offense, so I feel I should give them some leeway. You are not wrong. I expect your sister has been bad-mouthing you behind your back in earshot of your kids. Such young kids wouldn't know those terms on their own. Gold digger and bastards came from your sister, and probably more than once, for the kids to have picked up on it and remembered it. You are not the idiot. They had their chance to use your pool and paid back with insult. You had the right to make this decision, and I think it was the right decision too. Sometimes one must break some family dishes, and the reaction of your sister was very meaningful. All best wishes for your baby-to-be. Also, you don't punish the other children, you protect your own children. With your sister's reaction, it is obvious that the kids learned these words at home and would not be seriously punished for it. It would be a question of time, and the situation would repeat. I won't complicate this. I have a daughter, Kara, who is not my biological daughter, nor was she my legal daughter until she reached the age of 18, when she asked me to adopt her as an adult. I married my husband when she was a kid, and together we have 2 children. Kara gets along okay with my husband, but admittedly, her upbringing means she was maybe not as able to bond with a father figure as she was with a mother figure, and her age was also a factor. Regardless, everyone gets along, and I think that is the best you can expect when you have someone who went through as much as she did at a young age. Kara is engaged and came to me recently and told me she would like to walk with me down the aisle and do a dance with me while her fiancé dances with his mom. She told me she didn't know how to ask for that without hurting my husband. I told her he would understand and I would be honored to do it. I did not expect my husband and his parents to take offense. They believe she snubbed my husband and is making it seem like he's nothing. After listening to them complain about this for 10 minutes, I told them to suck it up and accept that she asked me, her mom, to do both of those parts of the wedding, and that I was proud to do it. I dared them to tell me I was less deserving than my husband. My husband and his parents believe I wasn't very understanding and downright rude, according to my mother-in-law. Am I the idiot here? So to clarify, my husband is not her father. He is her stepfather through me. I was married before, and she was my stepdaughter, who I ended up with custody of but never legally adopted as a kid because her biological mother was alive. She has trauma relating to father figures, 2 prior ones to be exact, so she has never really considered my husband as such, but their relationship has been good considering everything she has been through. I did adopt her when she turned 18, not my husband, just me. You are not the idiot. You're doing everything right, and I think it's lovely that she wanted you to walk her down the aisle. It's a testament to your relationship with her. It seems clear to me why she wouldn't want him. He doesn't behave as a parent, so why should he stand in as her father? You are not the idiot. To be clear, your husband and his family are asking that his ego be considered before her trauma on her own wedding day. Screw these people. You sure you want to keep hanging around them? To be honest, you are all idiots here. For the specific question you asked, Kara isn't obligated to ask your husband, and good for you for accepting, but you're being very dismissive of your husband's feelings. Should he ask Kara to change her mind? No, but you should at least have some empathy for your husband and realize what it must be like to not get asked. Sure, he isn't her father, but he's still been in her life for a number of years, and possibly from his perspective, he thought they were a lot closer than maybe you or Kara know.